Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back to Hebrew Chosen Elect, Shabbat class and reading. Mute that. We'll start by giving all praise, glory, honor to Yahweh by Shem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. This week we're going to start our pre-Hannukah reading. So we're going to be reading out of the book of First Maccabees, Second Maccabees, and we should be reading this book all the way up until Feast of Hanukkah. So that's this Shabbat, next Shabbat, and Shabbat after. Before we get started, our quick announcements, and then we'll get to it. So give me 1 second while I share my screen. First announcement, upcoming High Holy Day and new upcoming High Holy Days will be Feast of Hanukkah, which we will be celebrating December the 15th. That's a Monday at sundown. That's the Feast of Hanukkah, or also known as Feast of Dedication. So like Jonah chapter 2, verse 8 says, they'd observe lying vanities, forsake their own mercy. And that's what we see the world celebrating: Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all the other folly days, Halloween. All those are lying vanities. Pick one. And you'll be forsaking that mercy the Most High had on you by giving you his only begotten Son to die for our sins past. So us being in the knowledge truth, we're going to celebrate the feast days that were written in the scriptures, ordained by the Most High, right? According to what's in the Bible, not what was given to you by your oppressor. So that's December the 15th at sundown. If you would like to come out and celebrate with us, you can contact me or Yakanan, or if you know someone else in the camp, and we can get you situated to keep the High Holy Day with us as a body.
Or if you like during the feast, it's an 8-day feast. Like if in that time, I don't know, I might have a day off or somebody you want to come up and link with me. Maybe we can throw something on the grill or something with that. I do want to cook out and stuff like that.
Right, kind of. So yeah, it is an 8-day feast. So from the 15th to the 23rd or
24%.
Let me double check. Let me check your math.
Well, yeah.
Let me check your math, son.
It's 8.
Let me check your math, B.
No,
15th.
23rd.
15th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 22nd. So 22nd. So 15th, 22nd.
Nah, man, it's 8.
I just said.
Right.
But either way, 8-day feast. Like the brother said, you would like to get up, fellowship during any of them days, reach out, and we'll do something. We also got the upcoming 7th annual Hamashara Yashar Give It All You Got coat drive, which we will be having. I keep forgetting. Did we pick a date? The 20th. We'll be having our coat giveaway the 20th of December, which is a Shabbat, a Saturday. Pick a location yet?
Yeah.
Up until then, while he gets the location, up until then, we still are taking donations for cash, Cash App, or physical items such as coats, jackets, hats, scarves, gloves, new or used in good condition. With those monetary donations, you can donate. You can donate a Cash App at hashtag BDANI01 and earmark that coat drive for any Cash App donations. Or you can donate in person.
It's 941 Clifford Brown Walk, Wilmington, Delaware.
The location will be 941 Clifford Brown Walk, Wilmington, Delaware, right in front of this Prominent Cuts barbershop. So yeah, we still got time until that. So if you're able and willing, please make some donations, either monetary or physical items, and we say throw out in advance. Contact information, like I mentioned, you can get in contact with me or Yak and I if you have any questions or you like the fellowship, keep feast days, get in class. You can reach out to me at Facebook at We Are Israel, Gemara Yashala, or through phone or text at 302-510-7147. And you can contact Yak and I the same way at Facebook, Brandon Daniels Yak and I, Maccabees Yashala, or phone text at 508-840-7710. And if nobody's using that chair, get it out of here. Also, please like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channels, ACE Red Pill Reality and ACE Reloaded. With that, we'll go ahead and start our reading for this Shabbat. Like I said, we're going to be leaving from where we left off in the book of Numbers. Our regular reading, we're going to be reading the books of 1st and 2nd Maccabees, going over the history of the invasion and wars and conquering of the Greeks, and through the scriptures and different historical accounts to edify on how we got the Feast of Dedication, which you can find kept by Christ in the book of John. In the wintertime, I believe it's chapter 10, so 10:22, right? 21:22. You can find the account where in the wintertime, Christ didn't keep Christmas, his birthday. He was found going into the temple to keep the Feast of Hanukkah, or as it's wrote, that's in Hebrew, as it's wrote in English, the dedication, and it was winter time. So, and being followers of Christ, we should do as Christ. So he kept the Feast of Dedication, as do we. Being followers of Christ, whose real name is Yahushua Mashiach. So, where do you find this history? In the book, the section Apocrypha, which was taken out by the Protestant Church around 1800s, which wasn't, or they wasn't given that that job by the Most High. The Most High never would have had the Apocrypha make the Bible if he didn't want the Apocrypha in there. And in that book, you'll find the book of 1st Maccabees, 2nd Maccabees. So we're going to start the reading in the first book of Maccabees. We'll be going back and forth. And like I said, we'll also be going into some historical accounts, Josephus in particular, and, getting information on various different characters of the story. The Greeks, the Macedonians, who are so valued in history today in America. And, we're going to see the truth of how the Bible speaks to them, if they're really as great as America makes them out to be, right? So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get into it. 1st Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and read that out.
The book of 1st Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that, Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian.
Hold on. So already, let's get into some history. So the Bible writes of who the world knows as Alexander the Great. We know him as Alexander the Not Great.
So great.
Yeah. Right. So the Bible actually gives the history of Alexander the Great. And it labels him a Macedonian. So we learned in school, we're taught that he's this famous Greek general leader of the army to conquer the known world at the time. And in the first book of Maccabees, verse 1, it's labeling him a Macedonian. So, question, who are the Macedonians? And we're going to find out who the Macedonians are through the Bible, because the historians ain't going to give you the truth. You got to go into the Bible to find out the truth of who these people really are. So the first book we're going to go to see who are the Macedonians according to the scriptures is Editions of Esther, chapter 16 and verse 10. And let me get a reader for that.
Yeah, read it. Esther 16 is it? Yes.
This is Esther chapter 16.
No, it's not in there.
Verse 10 is in the Apocrypha. Anybody, if you can read the screen, read the screen.
Your phone is dead.
Guy Clark, can you get it?
Esther, what?
It's the book of Editions of Esther, chapter 16 and
Keep
what?
me charged.
Verse 10. So who are the Macedonians according to the Bible? This is Esther 16:10.
It reads, for Ammon, or Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood, and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us.
So the point of going here is Ammon, from the story of Esther, who was the enemy of the Jews and put all the things in play to have the Jews slaughtered in the book of Esther during the time of King Artaxerxes of the Persians, right? Ammon is being labeled a Macedonian in the editions of Esther in your Apocrypha section, right? So Ammon's a Macedonian. Now let's get more on who is Haman. Esther in the Old Testament, chapter 9, verse 24. And while Ezekiel gets that for us, somebody get 1 Samuel 15 and 8 and hold that. So one of y'all can get 1 Samuel 15 and 8. But first, I want that Esther, Salakia, chapter 9, verse 24, to figure out who is Ammon, this Macedonian, forefather to Alexander the Not Great, right? You know what? I'll read it myself. So Esther chapter 9, verse 24. I guess everybody hasn't had their coffee today, haven't had the Wheaties, but I'll read it. Esther chapter 9, verse 24. Because Haman, the same man we're reading of in Editions of Esther, Haman, his name is Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast that is the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. So this enemy of the Jews, Haman, during the time of Esther, was a Macedonian and an Agagite. Okay? So now, what does it mean to be an Agagite? 1 Samuel chapter 15 and 8. Does anybody have that ready?
15 verse 8.
1 Samuel 15 and 8.
Book of 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 8. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive and utterly destroyed.
Hold on, slow down. So he took Agag, the forefather of the what? Agagites. So he took Agag. This is speaking of Saul. Took Agag, the forefather of the Agagites, the king of what?
Amalekites.
Alive. Yeah.
Utterly destroyed all the people within the edge of the sword.
So now we're going down the line. The Macedonians are Agagites. Agagites are Amalekites. All right, we got one more. So now who are the Amalekites? The forefathers of the Macedonians. Who are the Amalekites? Genesis 32 and 12. Go ahead.
In the book of Genesis, chapter 32, verse 12. And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good and make thy seed as the same. No?
36 and 12.
I think it's 32 and 12.
I did too.
Could have said on accident, but 36. All right, stand up and read that. Verse 12. You gotta elevate your voice.
And Timnah was
Timnah. Timnah.
Was
Concubine.
to
Eliphaz. Hold up. Slow up. You gotta come closer. And take your time, but read clearly. So Eliphaz, Esau's, your verse 12. Your verse 12.
Yeah, Esau's son.
You got it. Esau's son. You good?
Esau's son.
Right, that's perfect.
She bare to, how you say that?
Eliphaz. Amalek.
There were
these
were the sons of
Ada.
Esau's wife.
So there you go. So Amalek, the forefather of the Amalekites, is a son of who? Esau. So now we go back to First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. Go ahead and start from the beginning. So Alexander the Not Great, who's kept in such high regard here in America, Greece and Rome 2.0. Alexander the Not Great is a Macedonian, which is an Agagite, which is an Amalekite, which is an Edomite. So these famous, world famous Greeks who are the cradle of knowledge and wisdom, are the descendants of Esau, the progenitors of the same nation that created America, Babylon the Great, the new nation of Edom, right? So Alexander the Not Great is an Edomite. So start from the top, chapter 1, verse 1.
And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chedom, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece.
Mm-hmm. So Alexander the Not Great. So we're gonna be going over these figures as we go along, to know exactly who we're reading about. So Alexander the Not Great, also known as Alexander III of Macedon, reigned from about 356 BC to 323 BC. Well, actually, no, he lived that long. He reigned about 36 to 323 BC. Most commonly known as Alexander the Not Great. We already spoke about that. We know him as the Not Great. They know him as the Great. He was king of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon. Why that's important? Because the original Greeks, they were descendants of Javan, but the Macedonians conquered them, and that's where the kingdom of Greece came from. It's the Greek kingdom of Macedon. So all these great figures that you're taught about in school, they're Macedonians. Even though they're called Greeks, they're Macedonians. Now we know that you can be a Jew and be called a Greek, which we will prove that later on in this reading. But so the kingdom was the Macedonian kingdom, meaning what? The Edomite kingdom. Right, Khan? Everybody following? Especially y'all younger brothers and sisters. The kingdom we know as the Greek world today is really a Macedonian kingdom, right? So an Edomite kingdom. He succeeded his father Philip II to the throne in 336 BC at the age of 20, and spent most of his regency conducting a lengthy military campaign throughout parts of Asia and Egypt. By the age of 30, he had created one of the largest empires in history, stretching from Greece to northwestern India. He was undefeated in battle and is widely considered to be one of history's greatest and most successful military commanders.
Khan, just to land me back off of what you just read, I had ran into some South Indian guys a couple months ago when I went out to have a drink after work.
Yeah.
And they treated me to drinks, and then he had let me know that he knew that we were the actual Jews. And he was letting me know that the difference between Northern Indians and Southern Indians, like the Northern Indians, they had mixed more with the Greeks and the Persians and stuff like that.
Northern.
Yeah, the North, and it just happened to read that the Northwestern had been conquered by Alexander and so on and so forth.
Right.
And he was saying that the Southern Indians had migrated from Africa to India. Yeah, I mean, but he was letting me know also that he knew that we was the people, and he said the people that was over there was established off politics.
Right. Khan. So this is him. Looks like your regular schmegler European today, right? So this is where they come from, the Macedonians, aka the Edomites, right? And you know that's why this America is mirrors in culture and also like architecture. It mirrors Greece and Rome because the Greeks were the forefathers to the Europeans who established America. So he was the king of Macedon from 336 to 323 BC. So we can also find the account of Alexander Not Great in the Antiquities of the Jews, book 11, chapter 8. And you'll see how he, in this account from Josephus, we'll see how we, the Jews, understood that his taking over the known world at the time was prophesied in Daniel. And the Most High also put us in favor when Alexander was conquering at that time, that he didn't conquer the Jews, but actually he was, what's the word? He was, what's the word? He saw us and he was like, he felt like they was glorious and godly people, and so he left us alone at that time. So Alexander didn't conquer Israel, but part of that reason also is because we revealed to him the prophecy that he was to take over the world, and also the Most High gave him a dream while he was conquering that the very priest that came out to meet him will come out and meet him. So we're going to read that account in the book of Josephus, Antiquity of Jews, book 11, chapter 8, starting at 326, verse 326.
Verse 326.
And it starts out in Jaddua, the high priest. That's before that. It's the page right before. It's stuff we got. It's like over there.
In Jaddua, the high priest, when he heard that, was in an agony and under terror, as not knowing how he should meet the Macedonians.
So he was hearing about the conquering the Macedonians were making. So he was in agony and fear. This is the high priest at the time in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Since the king was displeased at his foregoing disobedience, he therefore ordained that the people should make supplications and should join with him in offering sacrifices to Yahweh, who he besought to protect that nation and to deliver them from the perils that were coming upon them. Whereupon Yahweh warned him in a dream which came upon him after he had offered sacrifice, that he should take courage and adorn the city and open the gates that the rest appear in white garments, but that he and the priest should meet the king in the habits proper to their order, without the dread of any ill consequences, which the providence of Yahweh would prevent. Upon which, when he rose from his sleep, he greatly replaced and declared to all the warning he had received from Yahweh, according to which dream he acted entirely, and so waited for the coming of the king.
Mm-hmm.
And when he understood that he was not far from the city, he went off in procession with the priest and the multitude of the citizens. The procession was venerable, and the manner of a different from the other nations. It reached to the place called Sapha, which name translated in the Greek signifies a prospect, for you have thence a prospect both of Jerusalem and of the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Phoenicians and the Chaldeans that followed him thought they should have liberty to plunder the city and torment the high priest to death, which the king's displeasure fairly promised them, the very reverse of it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Alexander was going around conquering, and he had promised the Phoenician and Chaldean army that followed him, they could plunder these cities, right? But the Most High, he turned that in our favor at that time. Go ahead, because at that time we had we was living righteously according to the laws, right? Go ahead.
For Alexander, when he saw the multitude at a distance in white garments, while the priests stood clothed with the fine linen, and the high priest in purple and scarlet clothing, with his mitre on his head, having the golden plaque on which the name of Yahweh was engraved,
mm-hmm.
he approached by himself and adorned that name, and first saluted the high priest. The Jews also did all together with one voice salute Alexander and encompass him about. Whereupon the kings of Syria, the rest were surprised at what Alexander had done, and supposed him disordered in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
However, Parmenio alone went up to him and asked him how it came to pass that when all others adored him, that should adore the high priest of the Jews, to whom he replied, I did not adore him, but that God, who have honored him with the high priesthood, for I saw this very person in a dream, in this very habit, when I was at Dios in Macedonia,
mm-hmm.
who when I was considering with myself how I might obtain the dominion of Asia, exhorted me to make no delay, but boldly to pass over the sea thither, for that he would conduct my army and would give me the dominion over the Persians. Whence it is that, having seen no other in that habit, and now seeing this person in it, and remembering that vision and the exhortation which I had in my dream, I believe that I bring this army under the divine conduct, and shall therewith conquer Darius and destroy the power of the Persians, and that all the things will succeed according to what is in my own mind.
Mm-hmm.
And when he had said this, Parmenio, and had given the high priest his right hand, the priest ran asking by him, and he came into the city. And when he went up into the temple, he offered sacrifice to Yahweh according to the high priest's direction, and magnificently treated both the high priest and the priest. And when the book of Daniel was showed him, wherein Daniel declared that one of the Greeks should destroy the empire of the Persians, he supposed that himself was the person intended. And as he was then glad, he dismissed the multitude for the present, But the next day he called them to him and bade them ask what favors they pleased of him.
So that's good. We can drop that there. So we see that we understood as we do now that Alexander and all kings were set up by the Most High.
Come.
The Most High set up all kings. So while it's taught in school how great he was and all the exploits he did, he was nothing. He was nothing except for the world has been given into the hands of the wicked, and Israel lost dominion, and then he began to set up the other kings that would rule the world in their wickedness, so that they could multiply their sins and add and pack up their sins to the ceiling until the day he comes and destroys them all, right? Through slaughter and captivity, and then puts Israel back in place. So he was conquering, and the Most High let him know he was going to conquer the world, but he was going to run into the Jews and basically let them be. So that was the Most High that protected Israel, as he always does when we walk according to his ways, right? So now going back, this is how the start of the kingdom of the Greeks came about. The kingdom of the Macedonians, the Edomites. And now we're going to read what happened after his death. So verse 2, go ahead.
Verse 2.
We're going to read about his exploits, then death. Go ahead.
And it happened that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chedum, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him.
Mm-hmm.
And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die.
All right. So before you keep reading, you see on the screen a map of his kingdom. So, he didn't conquer the whole world because he didn't get past India, but he conquered most of it. And that started in Macedonia in 336 BC. That's when he assumed his father's throne, beating out the Persians. Then you can see the red line showing as he went conquering the path that he took, right? Up until 326 BC, after conquering the world, it's his army. He was on like a 10, 12-year-old campaign. And taking these soldiers along with him and destroying, conquering the world. These cats wasn't seeing home. So they got tired of following him to conquer the world for him. That's when they turned around. Or he would have went and tried to conquer the Asia all the way to the Pacific. That's what he wanted to do, right? So, but he stopped at India because his troops got tired.
Oh, okay.
It said that after conquering the region known as India, his army refused to advance further east. And if you ever watch the movie, it goes over that too. So, like, they got tired of following him. He's about to take them on a lifelong army campaign. They like, shit, I'm trying to go home. I got kids that I ain't seen. My kids are 10 by now. By the time I get back fooling with this cat, they're going to be 21. They're going to be grown up. So they got tired of his mission. And then in 323 BC, there's conflicting stories, but here it says while drinking in the palace of Nebuchadnezzar II, he fell ill and died. But yeah, so he died at 323.
Is that what that says?
That's what it says on this map. Could be different. I know I've heard they say he died from syphilis.
I thought it was gonorrhea.
Or gonorrhea.
I heard that he was paralyzed and they thought he was dead, so they buried him.
See, so it's different. It's different stories of how he died, but he died. He died in 323 at about the age of 32 or something. But yeah, so that's the story of Alexander, and we read about him in the Bible. And now as we continue, we're going to read what happened to his kingdom after his death. So read verse 6 and 7, then I got another map. So he died after conquering most of the known world in verse 6.
Wherefore he called his servants such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
Mm-hmm.
So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
Yeah, so he was like 32 because he started the campaign at 20, reigned for 12 years and died. So he died young, about 32, but he got a lot done in them short amount of years. So he split the kingdom amongst his generals,
Heads, yeah.
right? So you see on the screen the main 4, maybe 5. So you got in green was given to Cassander, then in yellow, Lysimachus. Yellow is Seleucus. That orange is Lysimachus. And then the Ptolemy is in the blue or purplish blue. Ptolemy got Egypt. And then looks like a Carthaginian empire in purple, but these are the main 4. So because after he parted the kingdom, there was wars and fightings after that, which we'll read about. But so he his main 4 was Cassander, who was king of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedonia from 305 to 297, de facto ruler of southern Greece. So he got southern Greece, Cassander. Here's a coin and depiction of him. A European, originally Macedonians, originally Edomites. After Cassander, you got Lysimachus. So Lysimachus, he was a Thessalonian officer and successor of Alexander not Great, who became king of Thrace in Asia Minor and Macedon in 288 BC. So Lysimachus. There's a bust of Lysimachus. Ptolemy Soter. The Ptolemy Empire is where you got the Egyptian Greek kingdom, right? Ptolemy, the first Soter was his name, and he was a Macedonian Greek general, historian, and successor of Alexander the Great. So if you've seen the movie Alexander, this is who's narrating the movie. Have you seen it?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, what's his name? I think Hopkins. What's that white guy's name? The famous actor.
It's been so long since I've seen it.
Kalak, what's his name? The narrator of Alexander the movie. He played in Hannibal. What's that guy's name? Either way, he plays Ptolemy in the movie Alexander. So if you ever saw the movie Alexander, he's like in Alexandria. He's on his deck and he's explaining the exploits of Alexander, which is played by the one that's played by
talking about Hopkins.
Yeah, Hopkins, his last name.
I can't remember his first name, but he played Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
He played,
so he plays Ptolemy.
Odin and Thor.
He plays Ptolemy.
What's Hannibal Lecter's name? Anthony Hopkins.
But yeah, so Ptolemy was a historian. So if you've seen the movie Alexander and you see the first guy walking around his deck, he's in Alexander, Egypt, and he's explaining the story of Alexander the Not Great, that he was playing Ptolemy. So Ptolemy got Egypt, right? He went and founded it was called as the Ptolemaic Kingdom, centered, like it says, in Egypt. He was king and pharaoh of the Ptolemaic Egypt from 305 BC to his death in 282 BC. Salakia, hold on.
Oh, good.
Our religions.
Anyway, this thing's acting stupid. So you was about to say
Yes, a lot. When we see that the brothers are always contending with us about John 3:16 in the world, here there's no problem with them agreeing that Alexander the Greek conquered the whole known world.
Right.
It's an order, a constitution, or a government. That's what world means. We're seeing it being applied in the real world right here.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, you were speaking about the very nature of Esau. I have a scripture for that. Obadiah 1 and 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how had I cut off? Would they have not have stolen till they have had enough? If grape gatherers came unto thee, would they have not leave some grapes, like you said? That when you're looking at Esau, his whole history is perpetuates him in a forward drive,
Yeah, give that to him.
killing, stealing, and robbing other people. He's never had enough.
Yeah, right. He's never had enough.
Right.
But his army had enough, and he would have kept robbing and stealing, so he hadn't had enough. The only thing that stopped him is his army got tired. The non-Macedonians got tired. Macedonians, they was ready. They was ready. They was like, yeah, on forward march. They was ready to conquer everything.
And we see that in Palestine. We see that in our urban areas with redlining.
With the gentrification and all that good stuff, yeah.
They just have an insatiable appetite for loot.
They get ready to tear down Riverside, ain't they?
So this Ptolemaic kingdom. So Ptolemy got Egypt, and he was the pharaoh of the Ptolemaic Egypt till 282 BC. But his descendants continued to rule Egypt until 30 BC. So they had a long hold on Egypt after Ptolemy. During their rule, Egypt became a thriving basin of Hellenistic civilization, and Alexandria, a great seat of Greek culture. So that was Ptolemy Soter. There's a bust of him. And like I said, that's the narrator in the movie Alexander, the Not Great. That was Ptolemy. So you had Cassander, Lysimachus, and you had Lysimachus, and then you had Seleucus Nicanor, all right, which means victorious. So Seleucus, he was called the victorious. He was a Macedonian Greek general, officer and successor of Alexander the Great, who this thing gets on my nerves. It really irks me. Who went to found eponymous Seleucid Empire. So if you're a Seleucid Empire, that's where you get Antiochus, which will be going on. Led by the Seleucid dynasty, initially a secondary player in the power struggles following Alexander's death, Seleucus rose to become the total ruler of Asia Minor, Syria, Mesopotamia, and the Iranian plateau, assuming the title of Basileus or king. The Seleucid Empire was one of the major powers of the Hellenistic world until it was overcome by the Roman Republic and Parthian Empire in the late 2nd and early 1st centuries BC, which was also Macedonians. Alexander the Greek, he went east, but other Macedonians went west, and that's where you got your Roman Empire. That's why they always teamed up so well, because they're the same people. And that's why you have the Greco-Roman Empire, because it's all really the Macedonian Empire, better known through scripture as the Edomite Empire.
Kind of like pretty much all the Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like why do you think? Notice, I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist. Notice the map of Alexander's conquering went west. He didn't even try to go get, like, it wasn't much land to the east. Like, you see how far he went. He could have conquered to the east real quick and then came west. You see, he didn't. Why not? because the Macedonians already headed that way. It's common sense. Macedonia sat right there in the middle. To the left of Macedon was the Roman Empire. He took to the right. He conquered everything that way. See that? This is a bust to Seleucus. These is modern day Europeans. Are they not?
He look like Prince Charles.
Yeah, he does. Prince Charles is probably him in the regeneration. He looks just like him.
No, he King Charles. No,
So back to First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 8 and 9.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 8 and 9. And his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. Mm-hmm. And evils were multiplied in the earth.
So evils were multiplied in the earth when these quote unquote Greeks, that's so highly revered in America today, right? When they took power, evils multiplied in the earth. Y'all see that? And we now know them to be Edomites. When the Edomites took power in the earth, evils multiplied in the earth. That was your Greeks, Romans, and now today Europeans that ruled Babylon the Great, America. Antiquities of the Jews, book 12, chapter 1.
Chapter 12?
Yeah, it's page over. Book 12.
Book 12.
Right there. Verse 1.
Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, book 12, verse 1. Now, when Alexander, king of Macedon, had put an end to the dominion of the Persians and has settled the affairs of Judea after the aforementioned manner, mm-hmm. he ended his life. And as his government fell among many, antagonists obtained Asia, mm-hmm. Seleucus, Babylon, and the other nations which were there. Lysimachus governed the Hellespont, and Cassander possessed Macedonia, as did Ptolemy, the son of Lagus, seize upon Egypt. Mm-hmm. And while these princes ambitiously strove one against another, every one for his own principality.
So that same way, how did America come to be? How did America come to be? All the Europeans had their part coming and conquering, but then they did what? The same way, they warred amongst each other for that top power. Same thing was happening when they conquered the earth and Alexander split the kingdom with them. Same thing. What was done then, done today. Right? Go ahead.
It came to pass that there were continual wars, and those lasting wars too. And the cities were sufferers, and lost of great many of their inhabitants in these times of distress, insomuch that all Syria, by the means of Ptolemy, the son of Lagus, underwent the reverse denomination, Salakia, of Savior. Which
is didn't have. Yeah, so he was doing so much killing. See, remember it said evils were multiplied. They was born and they was killing the people of the cities. They was killing people that wasn't soldiers. Same way which you see Europeans when they conquered the earth, going in and killing regular old folk, going in and destroying villages and cities and killing as many people as they could until they had you broken. And then what's left over, they would do what? Put in captivity. Same thing going on. And to the point it says he was the exact reverse of the denomination of savior. So what's the opposite of a savior?
A destroyer.
A destroyer. Right. So it said when they came on into power, evils were multiplied on the earth. And this is what it's talking about. They was warring against each other for power, and they was killing regular, ordinary people. They was just killing everything. They was fulfilling Somebody get that real quick. Genesis chapter 27 and what verse is that?
So, rule with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Esau.
Yeah, this is how you know who's who.
Verse what?
27.
27, yeah. This is the blessing of Esau. So evil is being multiplied on the earth when the quote unquote Greeks came to be, and they was warring and conquering and killing everything. Right? Get the blessing of Esau. Go ahead.
The book of Genesis, chapters 27, verse 27. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed.
So, like, this is the blessing of Jacob. I want the Esau's blessing. So drop down to
41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing.
No. 38.
38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed.
So that's good. That's good. So Esau's blessing was to what? Everything that Alexander the Not Great established, and then his generals after him warred over and continued on, that was the blessing of Esau. And it came to be exactly how Isaac said it would be done by the sword. Right? Same as today. How did he get in power today? The same way his forefathers did during the quote-unquote Greek and Roman kingdom. By the sword. So that's what we're reading about. We're reading about the history of Esau and his wars against Jacob. Because after the blessing, he said he hated Jacob for the blessing he received. So that's what you also see further on in the story. So finish that Antiquities. It was at verse 4.
Verse 4. He also seized upon Jerusalem, and for that end made use of deceit and treachery. For as he came into the city on the Sabbath day, as if he would offer sacrifice, he without any trouble gained the city, while the Jews did not oppose him, for they did not suspect him to be their enemy. And he gained it thus, because they were free from suspicion of him. And because of that day, they were at rest and quietness. And when he had gained it, he reigned over it in a cruel manner.
So that's your solution. From there, 2 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 1 to 40. Like I said, we're going to do some bouncing back and forth. First Maccabees, second Maccabees. And what I try to do, because they basically give an account of the same exact thing, but then like when you switch back and forth, you kind of get the chronology of it. And because some things that the first Maccabees talks about, second Maccabees might go in detail too, or bring out things in between that ain't brought out in first Maccabees. So we're going to go back and forth. So go ahead when you got that. Chapter 3, verse 1. We're going to read the whole thing to 40.
The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 1. Now, when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the laws were kept very well because of the godliness of Onias the high priest and his hatred of wickedness, it came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place and magnify the temple with their best gifts, insomuch that Seleucus of Asia, of his own revenues, bear all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifices.
So this is from time of Alexander up until now. The kings were bringing honor to the place. Even when Seleucus first got power, he was bringing revenues to the temple, right? But we just read above that eventually that changed. But at the time when we was living in accordance to the laws, the Most High was making the kings come and honor the city, the temple. So go ahead, verse 4.
Verse 4. But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder in the city, and when he could not overcome Onias, he gat him of Apollonius, the son of Tresius, who then was governor of Celesyria.
And ain't it always that there's always them coon Negroes that's jealous, that's coveting what you got or the position you have. We've always had that. And then they're going to do whatever they can underhanded to get your spot or get what you have. That's why the 10th commandment is not to covet anything which is of your neighbors. Because if you break that commandment, then you'll break the commandments before. You'll kill your brother. You'll steal from your brother. You'll bear false witness on your brother. But we always had that. It's always been these wicked niggas that's jealous or coveting and doing the whole nation much mischief. Go ahead.
And when he could not overcome Onias, he gat him to Apollonius, the son of Tresius, who then was governor of Celesyria and Phoenice, and told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hand. Now, when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Helidorus, his treasurer, and sent him with the commandment to bring him to the foresaid money. So forthwith Helidorus took his journey under a color of visiting the cities of Celesyria and Phoenice, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose. And when he was come to Jerusalem and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him that what intelligence was given of the money, and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed. Then the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of widows and fatherless children, and that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobias, a man of great dignity, and not at that wicked Simon had misinformed. The sum whereof in all was 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold, and that it was altogether impossible that such wrongs should be done unto them that had committed it to the holiness of the place and to the majesty of inviolable sanctity of the temple, honored over all the world. But Helidorus, because of the king's commandment given him, said that in any wise it must be brought into the king's treasury. So at the day which he appointed, he entered in to order this matter, wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city. But the priests, prostrating themselves before the altar in their priest vestments, called unto heaven upon him that made a law concerning things given to he kept, that they should safely be preserved for such as had committed them to be kept. Then whoso had looked the high priest in the face it would have wounded his heart, for his countenance and the changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind. For the man was so compassed with fear and horror of the body that it was manifest to them that looked upon him that what sorrow he had now in his heart. Others ran flocking out of their houses to the general supplication, because the place was like to come into contempt. And the women girt with sackcloth upon their breasts abounded in the streets, and the virgins that were kept and ran, some to the gates, and some to the walls, and others looked out of the windows, and all holding their hands toward heaven made supplication. Then it would have pitied a man to see the falling down of the multitude of all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in such an agony. They then called upon the almighty power to keep the things committed of trust safe and sure for those that had committed them. Nevertheless, Helidorus executed that which was decreed. Now, as he was there present himself with his guard about the treasury, Yahweh of the power of spirits and the prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of Yahweh, and fainted and were sore afraid. For there appeared unto them an horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with the very fair covering, and he ran fiercely and smote all Helidorus with his forefeet. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold. Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on the other side and scourged him continually and gave him many sore stripes. And Helidorus fell suddenly unto the ground and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up and put him into a litter. Thus him that lately came with a great train and with all his guard into the sad treasury, they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons, and manifestly they acknowledged the power of Yahweh. For he by the hand of Yahweh was cast down and lay speechless without all hope of life. But they praised Yahweh that had miraculously honored his own place for the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble. When the Almighty Yahweh appeared, was filled with joy and gladness.
And this is why, how can you tell people to take a jab? How can you tell people to bend to Esau, to put something in your body that you don't know where it came from? You really don't even see all these people they say dying.
Yeah.
And you're gonna take it to protect yourself from this disease that you're not really seeing with your own eyes, what they say on TV. But even if you did, why are you going to take an injection that they saying, experimental? But even if it wasn't, they're saying that it's going to keep you from getting a sickness. But what about the Most High? So how can you, being a leader of the people, a leader of the people in their spirituality, right? Building this, feeding the sheep, strengthening the sheep in the Lord, and turn around and tell them to take a vaccine or a jab so that they don't suffer from the plague that's in the earth, the plague that the Most High put on the earth.
Cool.
But we got accounts like this where the Most High came down and the priest ain't have to do nothing. He sent his angel to scourge the Edomite, right? He sent his angel down and he saved the people. But then you're going to turn around and claim to have all truth and tell the people, well, you need to go ahead and take them shots, take them vaccines so that you don't suffer sickness. So you don't suffer from the plague that the Most High put on earth, so that we can go to the beach. But I thought the Most High had the power to save you from the plague. Well, that's what we're reading, and this is where the truth is in the book. So how can I have all truth? And I can prescribe for you to just listen to Esau. Just take what defenses Esau has so that you can be saved from destruction, or you can be saved from the plague, or you can be saved from death. Just do what Esau says. That don't make sense. That don't make sense to me. And what it is it shows that cats are liars. Cats be lying. So where we at? Go back. Unless you want to add something.
No, I said what I had to say.
So go ahead, pick back up.
Verse 30. Verse 30. But they praise Yahweh that had miraculously honored his own place, for the temple which a little afore was full of fear and trouble. When the Almighty Yahweh appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. Then straightway certain of Helidor's friends prayed Onias that he would call upon the Most High to grant him his life, who lay ready to give up the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And so the high priest, suspecting lest the king should microconceive that some treachery had been done to Helidorus, by the Jews offered a sacrifice for the health of the man. Now, as the high priest was making an atonement, the same young men in the same clothing appeared and stood beside Helidorus, saying, "Give Onias the high priest great thanks, in so much as for his sake the Yahweh have gathered thee life. And seeing that thou hast been scourged from heaven, declare unto all men the mighty power of Yahweh." And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more.
So let me ask y'all a question. Does this mean that Heliodorus and the Macedonians, the Edomites, that salvation is for them because Onias prayed for him? Onias prayed for Heliodorus. And then the angel even said, told him to give him thanks, in so much that Yahweh is granting thee life because of him praying for you. Does that mean that the Edomites have salvation? Huh? Right, it's about context. He said it says that he suspecting the king should misconceive treachery had been done by Heliodorus. So this same thing with Paul, because they use Paul doing what? Praying for Agrippa, meaning that, Agrippa, the Edomites, they can be Christians as well. They have salvation because Paul prayed for Agrippa. Yo. I'd like to continue class if it's okay. I need y'all to be quiet. Paul, in similar manner, prayed for Agrippa, might be a Christian as he was. Somebody give me Acts 26, 6-7.
You need Acts 26, 27?
26, verse 6-7.
Okay.
Then 27, 32. Because they say Paul, because he prayed for Agrippa, that means Edomites are in. Salvation is for everybody. Go ahead, bring that up.
The book of Acts, chapter 26, verse 6-7. And now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of God unto our fathers, unto which promise are 12 tribes instantly serving God day and night, hope to come.
So what's he for? He stands and judged for the promise God made to our fathers. What fathers?
The Hebrews.
The Israelites. It says in verse 7. Promised are 12 tribes. Go ahead.
For which hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews.
So context is Paul is pleading to Agrippa because one of the arguments is, why would he be praying to Agrippa to save his life when chapters before he said that he's ready to die? So he must really want Agrippa to be a Christian and they're saved because he's pleading, making this plea to save his life. But the context is the reason that his life matters is for the hope and sake of Israel. He even said it other places. He'd rather be with Christ, but for our sakes, it's better that he's here. So off top, Paul isn't afraid to die, but he does have a job that he's put here for. And he understands that it does matter if he saves his own life or not. Similar to what we read with Onias. Onias saw that the angel had put down Heliodorus and saw that the account might get back to the king and be something against their kingdom. So he prayed that Heliodorus be restored. It's the same thing. So Paul is in front of Agrippa, and his main concern is the hope of Israel. So now we get 27 and 28. I mean, the 32.
What is that?
Verse 27 to 32.
It's the excerpt.
Yeah, same chapter. Well, you already there.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 26, 27.
Tawada, yes.
King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? Question mark.
Uh-huh.
I know that thou believest.
Mm-hmm.
Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian.
Mm-hmm. And here we go. Here's the part.
And Paul said, I would to God, Yahweh, that not only thou, but also all that hear me this day were both almost and altogether such as I am, except these bonds. You going?
Salaki, I was getting something. So he said he's praying that Agrippa would be such as he is, except for the bonds. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And when he had thus spoken, the king rose up, and the governor and Bernice, and they that sat with them. And when they were gone aside, they talked between themselves, saying, this man doeth nothing worthy of death or of bonds. Then said Agrippa unto Festus, this man might have been set at liberty if he had not appealed unto Caesar.
Now, some people say he was lying. I say he wasn't lying. I say he meant what he said. But that doesn't mean the Edomites are saved. That doesn't mean that they're equal in the kingdom.
No, absolutely not.
It don't mean none of that.
Absolutely not.
But why would he mean what he said? Because guess what? If Agrippa is as us, if Festus was as us, what would that mean? That would mean they're not gonna do harm to Israel. That would mean that if they're as us and they believe in Christ, that means they're not gonna oppress you, right?
They're gonna share the same affliction.
That means they're not gonna oppress you. That means they're not gonna slaughter you for just because. So this was not for his own sake, but for the sake of Israel. You see the same thing with Jeremiah. He said to pray for Nebuchadnezzar that his days be good, so that what? So that our days were easy in that captivity. So it ain't that he's lying, but it's also not that, oh, now if you guys believe and follow the doctrine of Christ, y'all are right with us and salvation's for you. That's not what it means. But it does mean that, okay, y'all about to take over the world, it's going to be easier for us. You're not going to oppress us. You're not going to slaughter us. That's all. And you see it with Onias and you see it with Jeremiah praying for Nebuchadnezzar.
That's a lot of scripture.
Mm-hmm.
1 Timothy 2. I exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplications, prayers, and intercessions, and giving of thanks.
1 Timothy 2 and what?
1 through 3. 1 Timothy 2, 1 through 3.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can go ahead. I just wanted to pull it up.
First exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings, and for all that are in authority, that we may lead a quiet, peaceful life in all goodness and honesty.
Mm-hmm.
For this is good and acceptable in the sight of Yahweh our Savior.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, so that we may lead quiet and peaceable life. So
right.
We got a king that's a wrathful king to keep him off of his wrath. We're praying for the Most High to bless him. He would curb that fire.
And that also goes to show that it ain't the prayer here ain't about praying for these kings and people in authority because they're equal and now they have salvation of Christ. Christ said his salvation was for Israel. Now, salvation does have different meanings. One way is preserved. So would they be saved in terms of being preserved? Yeah. But the salvation of Christ dying, that's for who he says for.
Salakia,
that's for Israel.
Not only that, but it shows the terms which they're going to be saved under too. Those who is there and they're oppressing us, they're going to suffer the affliction that we suffer. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be some that say we will go with you because we have heard that God is with you. And there's going to be some that say our fathers have inherited lies and things that are of no value, and they're going to admit to these things. This is in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, and it's in the book of Zechariah, chapter 8 and 23. You know what I mean? So it shows you what specifically is going to happen to those who will not bow down before us. That's in the book of Luke, chapter 1, and I believe like around 63. Mm-hmm. It says, those who will not serve you, bring them before me, and he's going to slay them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it shows you what is going to happen. And it shows you that it is going to be some that are so-called righteous. You know what I mean? But no, they're not going to be equal in salvation to us.
Right. Right. And it's not the salvation of Yahweh Shaddai.
No, it says that they're going to be amazed at our salvation. Yeah. They're going to be amazed at us. And they're going to be like, is this those who we had sometime in derision? Because right now you still got people that see all the facts, that read the same scriptures that we read, and they're in denial about who we are.
Yeah. Because salvation, like literally, also means preserved.
Yes.
So if you're Isaiah 14, you're cleaving and you're being brought and you're in servitude, you've been preserved because everybody else is being put to death. Right. Those that won't bow down before me be put to death. So yeah, in that definition of salvation, you have that. But Christ came for the salvation of Israel from their sins and enemies.
Well, it show you who going on the salvation. It show you in the book of Amos chapter 9, right before Obadiah. It show you, and then the precept of chapter 9 is in Acts 15. It shows you that in a parallel with each other. So it shows you that some of them going to have to come into some righteousness. They're going to have to admit their wrongs, and they're going to have to accept that we the people. You know what I mean? They're not going to have entrance to the gates, but they're going to have access to the outer court, you know what I mean, which has no measure, you know what I mean? Right. So it's just prophecy coming true anyway.
Right, and they no longer be allowed to build up idols.
Nah, not at all.
They no longer be allowed to play with little boys. They no longer be allowed to
well, the ones that's righteous not even going to want to do that. They're not even going to be on that type of time.
Everybody's going to have to be righteous.
But I'm saying the ones that's not, they're going to get put to death.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So that won't be allowed. Exactly.
No, it's not going to be allowed.
None of that be allowed. No whorehouses.
I think it's in Isaiah 66 where it showed that they're going to have to keep the same feast days as us and everything. Yeah. If they don't do that, they're going to be put to death.
Isaiah 2. They come up to the mountain of Jacob and learn the ways of the Lord.
Yeah, and also say that the mount of Esau is going to be restored, but that's talking about the government. The government is just going to be utterly wasted. You know what I mean? It's not going to stand at all. You know what I mean? And then that mountain represents our government. They're going to have to come under us being governing the whole world. They're gonna have to learn our ways.
So we see all that praying for the heathen. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like praying for the kingdom to be in peace.
Yeah,
like that's beneficial to you being in that kingdom. And so you don't just see it in the New Testament. It's not just when Paul came around.
Nah,
it's been happening with Jeremiah, and we see here in Maccabees it happened with Onias. Heliodorus just got his ass whooped, and he prayed for him.
Even in the Old Testament, like Moses, Jethro was his father-in-law. Like he blessed Jethro. Like he took advice from him. You know what I mean?
Matter of fact, he told him to stay with us.
Yeah,
he told him to stay with us when he came to see him in the wilderness when he was gonna go home.
Yeah. And then they had strangers amongst them. You know what I mean? Even in the armies and stuff.
And his descendants got a blessing in Jeremiah that they because we was so disobedient, but his ancestors obeyed their father dwelling in tents. He said, "You're not going to want a man to stand before me." Yeah. That also doesn't mean rulership. That don't mean equal. But he'll be there. He won't be getting his back whipped there most likely, because he's always his thing was his obedience got him that blessing. So that dude, he's going to be obedient.
So like the Pharaoh was saved, so that the Lord.
What time you gotta go? Right. We'll wrap it up soon, but if you gotta go before, it's cool. Come again, Kalak.
Pharaoh was saved so that the Most High would be glorified, right? A murderer, a pedophile, and a serial killer can be saved for justice.
Yeah.
And those that have been victimized may be saved to see justice.
Yeah.
Right? And we see that in the book of Malachi, Obadiah, and so many others. Books where the Lord is saving Esau for a day of his destruction. So no longer will we say that the Lord has delivered us this great thing out of Egypt. But that's going to fall away. But a greater deliverance is going to be him delivering us out of the modern day Babylon.
I'll bring it up to today, just to land back on what you said. Medgar Everett's wife got to see Violent D. LeBert brought to justice as an old man and go to jail for life in his old age by the power and spirit of the Most High. How about that? That's a beautiful thing right there. Kill her husband for nothing, just for speaking up for us. And then she got to see him go to jail for life, spend the rest of his life in jail as an old man. How about that? That's a beautiful thing right there, isn't it? And imagine how many other people he probably did that to too as well. Thought he was getting away with it and never thought he'd go to jail in Mississippi.
So, but yeah, we can go back. Verse 35.
Oh no, I lost my finger. I'm sorry.
But yeah, while you get it, it's just crazy. There's so much debate about, things that really at the end of the day is going to be what it is. And if I feel I'm reading it and I pick up one thing and you feel like you're reading it, you pick up a different thing. Neither of our opinions or how we pick up what we're reading and the way we analyze it, it's not going to be so based off of either of us the way we feel about it. So what's it, all the arguing back and forth? What's the point?
It's because
when it ends, it's going to be what it is, and we're all going to be like, okay, as the Most High willeth, as Yahweh willeth.
Yeah, it's like it's saying in the book of Philippians. You know what I mean? It says one teaching of contention and strife, and the other teaching of sincerity and truth. That either way, I'm paraphrasing. It say either way, Christ is being taught. You know what I mean? And we all teaching it partially, we prophesying partially, and everybody think they got 100% truth, and you see knowledge puffed up amongst everybody. That's what that is. And we should all sit down and humble ourselves because we don't all know everything.
Right? We analyze it.
Yeah, we're
analyzing things that
much more to learn. You always got some more to learn.
And everybody ain't gonna see things the same. Like you see professors, right, in college. I don't want to go off too much, but professors in college, or even students that are top of the class and they become a professor. this professor might be teaching and believe one thing, but then the professor at 2 colleges over, they similar for the most part, but one particular part of the I don't know, geometry class or whatever, they have a different view of this one part. They don't become enemies and debate about it. Or their students might come up and they might have learned from this professor, and then that student kind of came to the conclusion that, well, my professor, even though he has infinite wisdom, this one little part of the class, his teaching, I think he missed out on. Like 2 carried by 6, pi times 1,000. He missed this part, but I'm going to correct it. And that teacher ain't going to say, oh, you changed the doctrine. That teacher ain't going to say, oh, you left the knowledge. No, they're going to respect each other's scholarship.
And just
we missing that.
So like, just to land up what you're saying, me and one of my coworkers was having this conversation too last night, and I was told him I listened to different speakers and professors because they got a piece of knowledge, even though they got different train of beliefs. Like, for example, I listened to a dude by the name of Sahib Bolsa, and he's a professor, but he got Islamic beliefs, but that don't mean some of the stuff that he teach is not in righteousness. And then he listened to another brother, his name is Miles Monroe, and he teaches some good stuff, but he come at it from a Christian perspective. So I listen to him too, because he's coming with some knowledge, whereas though you're going to live by righteousness doing. And then whereas though I might listen to Amos Wilson, you know what I mean? And he's going to have some knowledge about him, but he don't so much believe in what we believe in either. But then that's when you got to take and you chew the meat of the conversation and you spit the bones. You know what I mean? I was trying to describe that to the brother too. So I know exactly what you're talking about. We do need to take knowledge from different people where we can get that, and you chew the meat and spit the bones where you can have the understanding of what somebody has without them having the whole concept or beliefs that you have.
Because then you might as well just throw away your parents' instructions.
Yeah.
Guidance of your parents. Like, your parents ain't the truth. That don't mean they ain't got no wisdom.
Nah.
That don't mean they can't see what you're doing and where you're going with the direction you're going and give you warning. They ain't even got the Bible, but hey, you know you about to go to jail. You keep on that path. Is that you ain't in the truth. I can't get no wisdom from you.
What? My mother tell me, don't ignore the red flags or something. Man, my alarms flicker. Like, you don't ignore the red flags. You know what I mean? They see something that you don't. They give you that hindsight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she knows some of the knowledge that we had because we went to a church to tell we was Israelites. But she don't have all that. But I still take in the perspective what she say to me.
Yeah, she don't follow it the same as you. She don't walk that same path, but she still got experience. She still got knowledge and wisdom. And she might give you some advice that if you don't take it because of her particular way she believes, it might be to your detriment.
Yeah, and like, you can't ignore the red flags. You gotta pay attention to the red flags. Yeah.
All right, let's go. 2 Mac 3:35.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 35. And the king took many gifts and bestowed them.
It says, so highly adores.
Oh, shut Salaki. Where am I at? 3 and 35?
Yeah, I thought that's where we left off.
It was 2 and 31.
No, we was at second. We're in 2 Mac, not first.
Oh, Salaki. Yeah, I am in 2 Mac.
Yeah, it should be 3 and 35.
Salaki. Yeah, you're right. Look at 2 Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 35. Then testified he to all men the works of the great God, which he had seen with his eyes. And when the king Helidorus, who might be a fit man to be sent yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, if thou hast any enemy or traitor, send him thither, and thou shalt receive him well scourged, if he escape with his life. For in the place, no doubt, there is an especial power of Yahweh. For he that dwelleth in heaven have his eye on that place and defendeth it, and he beateth and destroyeth them that come to hurt it. And the things concerning Helidorus and the keeping of the treasury fell out on this sort.
Go ahead. Keep reading chapter 4.
This Simon now, of whom we spake afore, having been a betrayer of the money and of the country, slandered Onias as if he had terrified Helidorus and been the worker of these evils. Thus was the bold to call him a traitor that had deserved well of the city and tendered his own nation and was so zealous of the laws. But when their hatred went so far that by one of Simon's fraction murders were committed, Onias, seeing the danger of this contention and that Apollonius, as being the governor of Caesarea and Phoenix, did rage and increase Simon's malice. He went to the king not to be an accuser of his countrymen, but seeking the good of all, both public and private. For he saw that it was impossible that the state should continue quiet and Simon leave his folly unless the king did look thereunto.
All right, stop right there. So we're seeing, remember, the evil when the generals of Alexander took the kingdom and split it, evils were multiplied in the earth, right? So you even see that eventually it started to trickle down into Israel. And now you had evil multiplying in the earth. You got them coon niggas that's you know, they got that covetous spirit, that murderous spirit, that deceitful spirit. They start to come out of woodworks too. Covenant spirit. And you start to see that evil trickling down into Israel, right? And that's what we just seen there. You got Simon. Onias is that righteous priest, right? Everything's going well, but I want that position. So I'm going to turn, I know there's these wicked ass Edomites that's running the earth. I'm going to go use them. I'm going to go let the governor over here know, hey, these cats, my own people, is holding money. They ain't giving y'all all the tribute. That's the type of wickedness going on.
Coonery.
Same coonery, yeah. You see today, right? You see it through history, right? Who got Salagia? Who got Martin Luther King killed? Wasn't it Jesse? Right?
Let's see,
Who turned on Malcolm X? Wasn't his own Islam brothers? It's always been that. You were saying?
Oh no.
He was agreeing.
Oh, okay.
When they go back, they always go back and give a bad report to Esau.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it sound as if there's a threat to Esau's kingdom to get ahead. So
you got a coon.
The Hebrew Israelites are saying Jesus, Moses, and all them people are black. Mm-hmm. They're saying that salvation is not for us. All of the things that would offend and rile up Esau to get a couple of points. And we see this on our jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Get that
first
places on
you got the coons that's going to the job. Like, you know what he believes?
Mm-hmm.
Or you got the coons calling up the apologetics. You know, they over here teaching this, that, and third. You got to shut them down. You got coons calling up vocab. You got to go. You got to get on these lives. You got to shut these cats down. They teaching that we the people. Yeah.
And then, like, man, you listen to some of the stuff he say, man, it just sounds straight foolish, man. And it's crazy that somebody will believe the stuff that he say, man.
Mm-hmm. I call him the NDL, the Negro Defense League.
I got these coons that be in my inbox on Facebook that every time they see a vocab, they try to send me the link to come debate him. What am I debate him for? And you already got your mindset that you already believe what this dude said, and he can't even stand. And I'm gonna bring up the true doctrine, and you still gonna stand with him anyway. So you already got your mind made up. You got these preconceived notions. So no matter what I say, if I was to go on this, what's the point?
Yeah, that's how what it's becoming. It's like watching a basketball game. If the Lakers beat the Warriors, and I like the Warriors, am I going to stop liking the Warriors? Nah. They don't count. Because they're going to play again, and then the Warriors win. They like the Warriors again. But 99 times out of 100, your team loses, you still like that team. That's what debating is. You're going to learn from who you're going to learn. You're going to see different teachers bringing out different things, different ways, and what resonates in your spirit, that's who you're going to go with. So a lot of this debating has gotten out of hands kind of pointless because the person you're debating, they teaching. You have access to everything they teaching. So all you got to do is find out whatever topic it is you want to weigh, go on their channel, see what they teach about it. Then you want to weigh out if you resonate with me, you can go on you can come to class or you can go on the video and you can see what I teach, and then you can make your decision. But if we do a debate, it's just going to be like a basketball game. And if I'm rolling with you, when it's over, I'm still sticking with you. And whoever's rolling with them, they're going to be like, yeah, I'm sticking with them 99 times out of 100. So it's really kind of pointless.
And when you go in the debate, the intention of the debate is to take and offend another person. Offend is to off-end your original projection.
Mm-hmm.
Your projection is about bidding people to the marriage. Esau will give you 100,000 offenders or 100,000 debaters to keep you from doing what you originally supposed to. There's a time you may have said what you said, but you leave that alone.
Mm-hmm.
And you go forward because it's about the flower. It's about getting the family.
Right.
He'll get you to do that, and that's what he has done to obtain the earth. He's always getting. How does Israel excel in America when we're always fighting for an equal right to vote? An equal right to breathe.
Trying to be equal.
So guess what? Don't even fathom Black Wall Street or anything that looks like that, because you're so busy fighting over here because he likes to throw all of those marbles out there. So while you're gathering the marbles, you're no longer on your objective to achieve a result that glorifies the Most High with your people.
Right.
So that's his game.
Yeah. And our game, our job is just to teach.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna bring out the lesson. We're gonna show you how Hanukkah was established, and who gonna learn, and who wants to learn, they're gonna tune in, and they're gonna learn. And who don't, they're gonna reject it, and they're gonna go turn on college football or go to the mall or however they want to spend their Saturday. Our job is to teach.
Well, we see what that looks like when you have an objective, a righteous objective, because that's why we're not in Rose Hill anymore. As soon as we started to teach and started to reach the bride of the Most High, we're bringing out the records. That's when it became an offense. That's when it became a threat. And that's when we had someone who started to muster up all these other things to get us off the original objective.
Right.
Saving the flock.
All
And
right.
then the brothers that went back over there, they caused defense. You know what I mean? They didn't stand in solidarity.
No, they didn't. But you know what? So that's what we see in this account, this historical account, what's going on, how Hanukkah was established. There was all that. So you had the Edomites with the running the world, and they multiplying evils, and then you got what? You got the coons just like, oh, I like what they doing, and they're aiding in the destruction of their own people and the goal. So yeah, let's go back to First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 10. Because now we're going to pick up. So that we was reading Alexander. We read about him, then who he split the kingdom to. And now a descendant of the Seleucids comes into play. So first Maccabees chapter 1,
10.
verse 10.
Okay. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome. He reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
All right. So hold on. So Antiochus Epiphanes. So this is Antiochus. And how much time you got?
15 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So we got Antiochus Epiphanes on the scene now. Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes was king of the Seleucid Empire. So he descended from that general named Seleucus. From 175 BC until his death in 164 BC. Notable events during Antiochus' reign include the near conquest of the Ptolemaic Egypt. So he was warring with the Ptolemies, his persecution of the Jews of Judea and Samaria, and the rebellion of the Jewish Maccabees. Here's a bust of Antiochus Epiphanes.
He called himself God on Earth, Epiphanies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here's a coin. European. So now let's read about Antiochus. First verse 11.
Verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
And we was just talking about that. You've always had that, even in the days of slavery, even in the time of the civil rights movement.
Yep.
Even in the 80s, the 90s, and today,
yep,
you always got those that's like, the hell with my people. I'm trying to be with them. Look at all the benefits of being with them.
Yep. And you see it all throughout time. Like you can go back during the slavery time, you can look at movies like Django, you see it with Steve. Yeah,
yep.
I mean, you go up further, you see it during the civil rights movement with some of the so-called civil rights leaders who wanted to join with this so-called kingdom. Then you can go throughout the 90s and see
or wait before you get to the 90s. We was just watching last week. You might have left already, but Judas, you've seen it. Judas and the Black Messiah.
I didn't watch it.
Oh, well, yeah, this dude joined the Panther Party.
Oh, yeah, I did.
For the FBI to tear down Fred Hampton.
Yep, and then he ended up committing suicide at the end, just like a real Judas. You know what I mean? And then you bring it up to the 80s, you got your Jesse Jackasses and your Al Sharptongues. You know what I mean? You bring it up to that era. Then you come up further. You can bring it up to the date with your Candace Owens. You know what I mean? Or they want to join with them. Or who else would I say?
God Logics.
What's my man name? He's very, very prominent with the older Tom Joyner.
Yeah.
Tom Joyner, you can bring it up to them. You know what I mean? Or the God Logics or Jada Producers who want to join with Vocab Malone and them. Yeah, you can bring it up today. You see the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yep. So we see this is something that's not new, right? This is something that's not new. We had it during all them times the Yakana is talking about. We had it during the time of Christ, and we had it during the time of the quote unquote Greeks. The Edomites are taking over the world, fulfilling the blessing that Isaac gave to them. And they're fulfilling their hatred towards their brother. And then we got the coons. It's like, I want to team up with Esau. So, yeah, let's go back. Verse 11. 12.
Verse 12. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen, whereupon they built place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief.
Second Maccabees 4:7-16.
Second Maccabees.
Yeah, 4:7-16. So this is when Antiochus comes into play. Certain people, certain coons, was like, I want to keep the ways of the heathen, the Greeks, even building a place of exercise similar to the Greek fashion, and making themselves uncircumcised, forsaking the holy covenant, becoming heathen. 4 verse 7-16.
It's on the screen.
Pretty much
Can you read it?
Same account.
But after the death
a little bit
of
different.
And Antiochus, called Epiphanes, took the kingdom. Jason, the brother of Onias, a laborer underhand to be high priest.
So Onias, he had a brother. So he had Simon, a Benjamite that's trying to get in there. He's jealous and take his spot. He even had his own brother the same way. His brother Jason. So he labored underhand to be high priest. Go ahead.
Promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another revenue 80 talents. Beside this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise, and for the training up of the youth in the fashion of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by name of Antiochus.
So this is similar to how you got these coons. This now they trying to slide money in. I'm gonna support the Trump Foundation. I'm gonna get this bag from the neighborhood. I'm gonna take these thousands and kind of backdoor so I can get in good with the politicians. Same thing. So he's paying to have the permission and to have the king allow him to bring these things into Jerusalem and to get the priesthood over Onias. Go ahead. Oh, wait. And it said, you read verse 9?
Yes.
And he wanted to write them in Jerusalem by the name of Antiochus. It's going into, New Testament, you might be writing a letter to the Ephesians or to the Corinthians or the whoever, or you got neither Greek nor Jew. This is where it started. So this cat was trying to get in good with the Macedonian king of the Seleucids, and he wanted those in Jerusalem to be called Antiochians. And some of the Jews took on that title. Now, instead of being Jews, they were being called Antiochians. Go ahead.
Which, when the king had granted and had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion. Greek
nor Jew. So this is where it started with the Jews becoming Greeks, or being called Antiochians, or being called by whatever Greek city or state they was in. They would take on that name. It started here. First, it was Antiochians, and they wanted to bring the nation into Greekish fashion, and they were successful with a lot of them. You was about to say?
No, I was agreeing.
Yeah. So this is where it started. This is where you get in the New Testament neither Greek nor Jew, or Paul writing to cats in Corinth, because they were Corinthians, because they were in Corinth. He was writing to Ephesians. They were his people that were in Ephesus. And we're going to even do a even more in-depth lesson on that. Josephus, he even puts down the history where that's why he was writing his stuff in Greek. But that's neither here nor there. Where it started was this story here. The Greeks warring against the Jews during the time of Alexander to his generals taking over the world after.
Salakia, it go back before that. You could go back to even the time of Solomon, when the kingdom was split between Jeroboam and Rehoboam, and the nation of Israel was split separate, and they took on customs and idols, and they became Gentiles because they took on Gentile custom, and that was going forth with the northern kingdom. You know what I mean? But this is dealing with
southern kingdom.
The southern kingdom. I was going to say Judeans, but the southern kingdom, which was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi at this time, who was taking on Greekish customs too as well. It even says that. It says Greekish fashion, which will be Gentile customs. Yep. You know what I mean? Yeah, so, I know. I jumped ahead.
For time's sake, let's keep reading down this because he has to go. I want to finish out a certain part of this that I got. So can you go ahead and pick it back up 11? Verse 11.
And the royal privileges granted of special favors to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid. He took away and put down the governments which were according to the law. He brought up new customs against the law. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under this subjection, and made them wear a hat.
And when it says made them, this is a euphemism for the reverse. We read it above. They became uncircumcised. It's not talking about a baseball cap.
No.
They put a hat where a hat had been taken off. Now they put a hat back. They became uncircumcised again. Go ahead. Verse 13.
Now such was the height of Greek fashion.
Yeah, how your rod looked was part of Greek fashion. We're going to show because you might be thinking, how is your rod part of Greek fashion? We'll get into that. Go ahead.
And increase the heathen's manner, though exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest. That the priest had no courage to serve anymore at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise. After the games of the discus, called them.
So they rather play games instead. This is the priest now. Instead of doing the service in the temple, I want to go out there and play discus. I want to go out there and throw discus. Participate in Greek games. Go ahead.
Not setting by the honors of their father, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all, by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemy and avenger.
Enemy and avenger. Avenger is your protector. So they join in with these Greeks, the Macedonians, Edomites, who actually hate your guts because you're a descendant of Jacob. Now they was your enemy and avenger. They're your saviors and your enemy at the same time.
Because they bootleg.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whose customs they follow so earnestly, and unto whom they desire to be like in all things.
So this is when Jews became Greeks. So here's some images. This wicked Negro wanted to bring a gymnasium, a Greek gymnasium, into the Jerusalem. Set it up right by the temple.
No, Mally.
This is how their gymnasiums were ran. Boys in the nude,
Wrestling.
bucking naked. This is how the Greeks
They wrestled naked.
wrestled naked.
Yeah, they
See
was,
that?
they was Greeks. That's why when you watch, if you ever watched the movie 300, Spartans, which is our kinsmen, the Lacedaemonians, he calls them the Arcadians boy lovers. He talking about them doing this stuff.
And they were priests. But,
like Leonidas was against them. Like he was like we know how to war. These dudes know how to be boy lovers. That's what he was referring to.
yeah, this is
If
the
you go back and watch, like you seen the movie 300. You know what I mean? You seen movie 300?
It's been a while.
Yeah, but you remember that part when he talking about them?
No,
Go back and watch it. You're gonna catch it.
This is the customs and the exercises that he wanted to bring the Jews into, the Greek fashions. Working out, wrestling around, playing games with other men in the nude.
Shalom, Sister Yadada. Happy Sabbath day.
Not only that, it was lawful amongst the Greeks that you could kidnap a young boy, put him in what we call today a gymnasium, and for they had a certain amount of days. For 30 days, you may have 3 men who were supporting him to learn how to sword fight, wrestling, and entertain themselves, that they can come in and visit him as long as they want.
Yeah, I bet they were sword
fighting.
fighting.
No one no foul.
Well, look here. You ever been in the pool and you got clothes on and you might chicken fight? Well, they was butt naked and they get on each other's shoulders, and then you got the guy at the front that's tossing the ball to him. This is the type of things that the Greeks did. This is what Jason wanted to bring the nation into. Wrestling, and like you said, wrestling around in the nude.
Nasty.
Men
nasty.
butt naked, wrestling
look,
around.
Too, my goodness, man, it's too graphic, man.
You say you wanted to bring him the game of discus. Also played in the nude. Like you got to get butt naked to throw a disc, to spin around a circle and throw a disc.
And look at Jake in the mix with it too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see they painted themselves as white, and then you see the black when they
Right.
painted black. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
Jake all in the mix with it too. These sellout coons that we reading about, they want to do the same exercises and fashion after the Greeks.
This all started time of Maccabees, leading up to where we get the Feast of Dedication.
These
See-
sellout coons
see that?
want to be like them.
They grabbed the disc, they got to
This
spin
is-
around
this
in the
is your
nude
Diddy
to
party
throw
back
your
there,
disc.
Back in the day, this is your Diddy party. You know what I mean? Nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun.
Then it said,
that's your Diddy party.
then
right
it
there.
said
That's your
the
Diddy
young
party.
men became uncircumcised. In Second Maccabees said made them to wear a hat. Epispasm is what it's called.
Clyde Davis coming in and telling Diddy, this is what we doing over here with the Greek party. Now you're gonna turn the Diddy party into the Greek party. Same thing.
So watch this. So now they had epispasm. This is where you got the boys becoming uncircumcised, made to wear a hat. Epispasm was an ancient procedure to restore the
To
foreskin.
do what?
Restore the foreskin. Essentially a circumcision in reverse, practiced primarily by Jew men in the Greco-Roman world who had converted to Hellenism. This reversal was motivated, watch this, remember it said the fashion of the Greeks? This reversal was motivated by the social and cultural stigma surrounding circumcision in classical Greek and Roman society, where an uncircumcised penis, watch this, an uncircumcised rod was considered a sign of beauty and civility. You know, your fashion, right? While the ancient procedure has no direct equivalent to modern foreskin restoration, Celsus, a Roman physician, detailed a surgical method for epispasm that was unique and influential. So this is what was going on during the time of the Greeks with the Jews and their conquering and wars and being enemies, and then avengers to the sellout coons that wanted to join up with them. So with that, we'll end it here, and we'll pick back up next week. We'll stop right here for today. We'll stop right here today. Hope the reading was edifying for those who are online watching. Those of us in class, hope everybody learned something. I know he did. I hope. But yeah, I want to give all praise, glory, honor, Yahweh by Shem Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. And we'll pick back up next week and back in the book of Maccabees and continue our reading, our lead up to the Feast of Hanukkah. And remember, it's still the Shabbat, so Shabbat Shalom and Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.